Let's go ahead and bring in the Chief of Police there in our fine city of Keego Harbor, Chief John Fitzgerald. Thank you for being with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.
Good morning, Ronnie and Tyler. How are you?
It's always great to have our local chief on with us. How are things going over there in our fine city of Keego?
Things are going pretty well. Very smooth right now, and I hope it stays that way.
We all do, don't we? We check in with you on a pretty regular basis as we've been trying to navigate the pandemic. I know the last time we talked to you, one of the big things had to do with the mask. The mandate was coming out. I'm really not hearing a lot about that from any of the businesses in Keego. I live there, so I'm out and about. Any things that you guys are hearing about issues with people not wearing masks, or any confrontations from the police department standpoint?
It's going pretty well. We're not getting very many complaints at all from businesses or from citizens, and I think you can see it as you walk around yourself. As you go to the stores, you notice people put their mask on to go in, and actually, my biggest guilt is going to a restaurant. I wear it in, sit down and eat, and then I get up and walk out the door and go, oh, I was supposed to put it on before I left the table. But, we're luckily not seeing any confrontations and problems in Keego Harbor with the mask issue. I think everybody's just trying to look out for themselves and look out for others a little bit, which is nice.
I always laugh like when I go to the CVS or Rite Aid there, and you see people walking up to the door, and then they go, and you can see them turn around because they left their mask in their car, so they're forgetting it. So that's good to see that we've come to understand that this is just the way life is going to be for us right now, and to be respectful of those employees that are having to, work behind the doors. They didn't make the mandate. They're just doing what the state is trying to tell them to do as well. School is back open. How are things over at the school? I saw your cop sitting outside Roosevelt the other day, and we were like, wait, what time is it? Because we forget these aren't normal school times any longer.
That's correct. The school times that are posted on the signs for slowing down pretty much only affects the very first drop off in the morning. The schools have done a good job of getting good flow in and out of the schools, because they have 2 drop-offs and 2 pickups each day. And it's actually worked very well the way Roosevelt School's running it. But as a reminder to everybody coming by the schools, even if it doesn't say school zone time on the signs out there, if you see the police car sitting in the middle of the road, and we're not hiding behind billboards, we're not trying to write tickets, we're not trying to catch people with gotchas. We're right out in the middle of the road. The officer's got the overhead lights going. And remember, when you see an officer, a tow truck, or any emergency vehicle with overhead lights going, what are you supposed to do when you come up to them? You have to slow down to 10 miles an hour under the posted speed limit to go past them. So if we're sitting right in front of the school with the lights on, that knocks the 35 mile an hour zone down to 25 miles an hour, which is the same as the school zone. So it's our, without having a sign there, it's still, the speed limit is 25 when you see us out there with the lights going, and it's all for the safety of the kids. It's not for tickets. We've written a few because some people aren't getting the idea, but it's we have a lot of pedestrian students and their parents back and forth to school, and want to keep it safe around the schools for them.
And we appreciate you doing that as well. In terms of the pandemic, how are you guys doing? How is your staff running into any issues? I know in the beginning PPE was such a big thing. It seems like a lot of the issues of coming up with enough PPE, or even disinfectant wipes and things of that nature. How are you guys doing in that area?
Sitting pretty well. We have enough in our station to last, and we keep trying to order ahead to make sure that we don't run out. We've been fortunate to not be hit by any outbreaks. We had 2 earlier events. One officer had symptoms and had to stay out for 8 days till his test came back, and he came back negative. And another officer had contact with some people and had to stay out for a little while. And fortunately, nobody has come down with it on our department, and we're hoping for the same way. And we want everybody else to kind of do the same things. Keep your social distancing, wear the masks, whether you believe in them or not, when you're around people. Because I have another personal friend who, they went to a family funeral out of state, and unfortunately, I think 4 of them came back with COVID. And you're around your friends, you're around your family, you think, oh, that it's okay, nobody's got symptoms, we're all right. if you aren't living with them, you still have to be careful and keep your distance from them and protect yourselves.
And Chief, I would imagine that has to be a big concern for you because you do have such a small staff. So if one person gets it, you're around so many of the other people. Could it kind of wipe out your department? And if so, what's the plan behind that? And if they're getting tested, can you do a rapid test and can you bring them back faster, or do you have to wait out that time?
Well, Ronnie, that was a horrible term to use. Wipe out our department. We don't want that.
Well, we don't mean it like that. We don't mean it like that. But how many
I know
officers do you have? Many of them are only part-time as well.
We have 10 of us. Right now, there's five full-time and 5 part-time, and it could be very disadvantageous to us if somebody came down with it. But the one thing is we're spread out on the different shifts, and there's not a whole lot of interaction between officers except on the day shift when we have a few of us here and people in and out for paperwork or different things like that. But the afternoons and the midnight guys, you just run into them at shift break, and they, pretty much hopefully are keeping their distance and watching themselves. We have protocols in place to sanitize the cars when you get in and out of them to make sure you're not leaving something to spread and you're not picking up something from somebody else. We have station cleanings going on here. We have a great staff at the city who's come down with protocols and ways to try and keep it safe here. And they come in and do some kind of spray on the weekends. We have plenty of wipes around, regulations for coming into City Hall and coming into the police station. You have to have a mask on to come in. We have the hand sanitizer right there. The city just installed, you might as well call them sneeze guards, but plexiglass windows at the front desk, so it puts a barrier between us and the citizens coming in, which we don't like the barrier because we're a small community. We like being close to our community and our citizens and the people that come in, but for the safety of everybody and keep the city running, they had to put these barriers in for health purposes.
Chief John Fitzgerald with us. He is the chief of the Keego Harbor Police Department, joining us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. Chief, later on this week, there is a protest that's being planned in the city of Keego Harbor. Can you tell us a little bit about what information your department has?
Okay. Yeah. That it's a protest with a march. It is the same organizers that were here in June, and that protest and march went off very smoothly, I'd like to say. Cooperation between the organizers, the group, the officers, because we're here not to try and stop their rights at all from protesting, and they don't always have nice things to say about us as the police, but they have the right to say them, and we're here to protect the rights. That's what we do. We're also here to protect them on their march, and that's just kind of, I want to give everybody a little heads up. If you're coming home tomorrow between 5 o'clock and 7 p.m. on Orchard Lake Road, you might want to try a different route because there's 2 crossing points. And the Sylvan Lake Police Department and the Orchard Lake Police Department are working in conjunction with us, and they're going to help this march get across the streets, which they did at the June march. The group will cross, but it could be a 5-10 minute delay if you're on Orchard Lake Road. So if you're in a hurry someplace to get home tomorrow night between those hours, you might want to take an alternate route. The marchers will be crossing at Warwick and Sylvan Lake, and then marching down to Commerce Road and Orchard Lake Road, where they're going to cross again. Then they're going to come back up to Cass Lake Road, go down Cass Lake Road to by Roosevelt School, where we're going to cross them on Cass Lake Road. So there could be a few short traffic delays. So like I said, plan another route if you know you're going to be really in a hurry tomorrow night. We want to make sure that nobody's tied up and no tempers flare because they have to wait for a little bit while the group crosses the road.
Well, that area can already be a bottleneck as it is. So good thing so many people are working remotely right now. So I would imagine traffic flow is a little bit lighter than it would be in years past. Will they mainly be on the sidewalk then, not necessarily the streets?
That's our plan, and that's what happened last time. The plan is the march takes place on the sidewalks. The only time it goes into Orchard Lake Road or Cass Lake Road is when it does a crossover. As far as traffic, still a lot of people are working from home, but we've noticed in the last month or so, traffic looks like it's picked up a lot on Orchard Lake Road. So we just want to prevent any any accidents from happening, because when you get a lot of people walking, hopefully nobody's going to accidentally step off the curb, and drivers are driving along at 40 miles an hour along Orchard Lake Road, and if they are not paying attention, we want no tragedies. We want this to be a smooth protest, a smooth march, let their voices be heard, and everybody else carry on.
Chief, when they do the protest, how does it work? Do they have to get a permit prior to be able to organize an event such as this?
No permit is needed for under a certain amount of people, and the estimate is that they're going to be under that number. So we are glad that we're cooperating with each other, and they contacted us and let us know ahead of time so we could make plans and get out there to help protect them while they're doing their march and protest. So, like I said, no permit is needed for that one.
Chief John Fitzgerald with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Chief Fitzgerald, just a little bit over a month away from the November general election, and there's expected to be a lot more poll watchers this year. There's been some discussion contentiously on a national level about people maybe planning to be aggressive at some polling locations. Keego Harbor usually is a very tame polling location during most elections, general, primary, and midterm. Are there any discussions within the department, within the city of Keego Harbor, in case things do get contentious at the polls this year about keeping the peace?
There's, we hear of no plans that there's going to be bad at our place, but we're always trying to plan ahead. We're looking ahead. We will have extra officers around. We're going to pay special attention, but this is America. It's everybody's right to come vote, and it's everybody's right not to be hassled while they're voting. So please keep that in mind. People come in to vote. People come and stand outside to support their candidate, and that's what this country is about. The fact that we're supposed to have free elections and transformations of power, and no intimidation needed at the polls. Let people come and do their thing. But of course, we are looking and paying attention, our ears to the ground with our law enforcement partners. If we hear of anything coming up, we'll take as many special precautions as necessary. But like you said before, Keego Harbor is been pretty non-contentious, even though we have a mix of voters on both sides. And I hope they can all just show up, place their vote, have a conversation outside with each other, and carry on.
Yeah, and the good way that it's set up here in Keego is that they're a little bit distance away. So if you're actually parking your car in the parking lot, you're not going to pass them unless you want to, or you need to go up and you need to talk to them, unless it's a busy day and then you have to park a little bit further away. And I will say I'm a fan of voting in person just because I want my sticker. I know. It's the little things in life, Chief. I need my sticker. And last year they changed them. We upped our sticker game. It's a lot of social media pressure to have the best sticker out there.
It is.
These days.
Yes.
Chief, while we have you on, I know October is obviously today, October 1st, trick or treat, the end of the month. Keego is a big area for trick or treating because of the way some of our neighborhoods are laid out. Any special things for trick-or-treating this year that you want the public to know? Because there's been so much discussion about, is it going to be canceled? Is it not going to be canceled? We know it's not, but what do you want the public to understand about trick-or-treat?
Well, trick-or-treating is not really a governmental regulated activity. We don't run the thing. We don't tell people. The most they do is they put out advisory hours, 5:30 to 7:30 or whatever it's going to be. I'm not sure what it is this year yet, but that'll get posted, and they do that for the safety of the kids, to get them off the street as soon as possible so they're not walking around in the dark. I would use, if I was gonna have children out trick-or-treating, I'd use my own common sense about what's going on. Anything that goes into the bag when they get it home, maybe you have sanitary wipes to wipe them off before the kids touch it after it comes out of the bag. If you're at home and you don't want to be involved, turn your porch light off, keep your door shut, don't answer it. And because I know there's some people that want to have minimal contact with other people while this COVID thing is still going on. And that's all right. That's not a problem. And nobody should fault you for deciding that, I'm not going to play the hand out the candy game this year. And if you are going to hand it out, I have a mask on, because you're going to have a lot of people coming into your space at your front door. If the weather permits, maybe put a table out in front and stand outside in the fresh air where the breeze is blowing the wind, and it's probably a little bit safer to do it from outside there across the length of a table, drop it in the bag, and have them go on their way. But I don't know if there's any surefire way to make it totally safe. As in with everything else in the rest of the world, there's really not a surefire way to make it all safe. But just use as much common sense, follow the guidelines about sanitizing things and keeping your distance from people and wearing masks.
Chief Fitzgerald with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Yeah, you know, our neighborhood, I'm in Harbor Village, is huge for trick-or-treating. And I will say, I think this year we're reconsidering just because of that. And it's not just other people coming into your neighborhood, because we get people from outside of our little subdivision. They come from everywhere. It's like hundreds and hundreds. But it's also, you're touching the candy. Like, even if we did a candy cannon, which we've kind of had in the past, you're still, we're like, oh, we got to break out the pirate ship again and have the candy cannon, where my husband was slingshotting candy at the kids.
Oh, boy.
But even in that regard, you're still touching the candy, the bags, and then putting it, and then they're touching it. And it just, when you start to think about it, it gets all crazy. It's just too much for all of us. But real quickly before we let you go, because I know your time is valuable, I have to ask you, we're going to be coming into the upcoming holiday season. Amazon Prime is already doing its Prime Day early. Bloomfield Hills, I think it was, our neighboring community, issued basically a warning to let people know that the package thieves are out there. I haven't really seen any of them in our neighborhood, but we're always watching for people doing that, because people are buying stuff online still like crazy. Any of those issues going on in the city of Keego right now?
You know, we've been fortunate that so far we haven't had any reports of that, maybe one or two here or there, but it's not been the problem it has been in other areas. And whether it's Christmas season or not, right now with this, with the COVID situation going on, a lot more people are ordering and having packages delivered. The best bet is to, if you have a box on your porch, you can have the delivery put it in, so it's not sitting out there visible that there's a delivery sitting here. Your neighbors, keep an eye out for your neighborhood. You see a car that doesn't belong, that's slowly trolling through the neighborhood, and it doesn't belong there, give us a call. We'll come out and check it out. That's what we're there for. We're there to try and keep the neighborhood safe, keep your property protected. And we have a pretty good response time in Keego. We like to get out there and help you guys where we can. So keep an eye out. If you're the one that's home in the neighborhood during the week and you see that car that doesn't belong there, especially if they're stopping in front of houses and you happen to notice there's packages in their eyeball and that kind of stuff, call us. Let us get out there and check them out. I recommend you don't intervene with them yourselves. Dial 911 or dial the non-emergency line of 248-975-9200. They're going to answer at West Bloomfield Police and Fire Dispatch. That is still the Keego Harbor Police and Fire Dispatch. So don't hang up when you hear them say West Bloomfield. Let us know about it, and we'll get a car out there to check them out.
Chief, we appreciate it. And also, just everyone, look out for your neighbors. And like you said, so many times the delivery people will leave them like right there on the front so you could see the big packages sitting there. So we'll talk with our neighbors, and we'll either bring their packages in our house, let them know that we have them, or we'll try to hide them behind like, a chair or something that they have on their front porch, so it's not so visible, like this big old thing. Hey, I'm on the front porch. Come steal me. Chief,
come take my new TV, right?
Right, exactly. We do. We know what everyone's buying, though, that way, I will say. So not always a good thing. Chief, it's always great to have you on with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast. Anything we didn't ask you that you want to get out to people before we let you go?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff. And once again, it's just look out for each other, take care of each other, be kind to one another, because that'll reduce us having to come and do anything. Appreciate all the information you and Tyler put out there for us. And Ronnie, I wish you guys a great weekend.
Thank you. And also extend our gratitude to all the members of your staff over there at the police department. I know they're working hard to keep us safe. And also, it's always great when we see Officer Cote in the neighborhood with the dog snacks. So tell him thank you. Trixie appreciates it.
I hate to say this, but he's told me that because of the COVID, he's had to hold off on the dog snacks, and he's got some dogs that are very angry with him when they come up to the car, and he's not giving them the snacks right now. But, what I did forget one other thing is, I probably have not had more people come up and say thank you for doing this job in the last 6 months as I've had in my whole career of 34 years in doing this. More people have come up and they're doing it to all the officers. And, thank you to them for doing that, because it's one of those positives that keeps us going. When we see on the news the negativity towards the police and the protest towards the police, we realize that there's a lot more people that understand we're here enforcing the laws that the people have put in place, trying to make it a safer and better community, and we appreciate your support.
Well, we appreciate everything that you guys and your entire team are doing to keep Keego Harbor safe. So thank you to all of you as well. We'll let you go now, Chief, but and a happy weekend to you as well. I hope you get to get out and enjoy this beautiful fall weather as October is upon us. Hit an apple orchard or, a pumpkin patch or something. Chief, we're never too old for that.
How about a golf ball? I'm good for a few more rounds of golf.